Good evening and welcome to Mitv Primetime News, coming to you live from our broadcast today in Lagos. Hi, I'm Kemi Omoshebi Awude. First, we'll begin with our top stories. INEC put security codes to differentiate against fake election materials ahead Anambra governorship election. Death toll from Ikoyi building collapse in Lagos rises to 21 as Governor Sanwo-Olu set up panel of inquiry. Another foreign scene, bus plunges into ditch, kills 20 in Pakistan. And finally, in the world of sport, Unai Emery rejects Newcastle head coach job. Now the news in details. The chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, has stated that the commission has put in place security codes that will differentiate original election materials from the fake ones. In this known on Wednesday during the stakeholders meeting held in Oka, Anambra State. Professor Yakubu also disclosed the Commission's commitment to ensure that any voter without genuine permanent voters card (PVCs) would not vote on election day. Meanwhile, the INEC boss further stated that non-sensitive materials is being deployed to the 21 local government areas of the state, adding that sensitive materials will be inspected by the stakeholders at the CBN branch in Oka on the eve of election before its onward distribution. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Akali Baba, said the 34,587 police personnel would be assisted by other security agencies to provide security on election day. The IGP, however, urged the citizens of the state not to be afraid of the massive deployment, saying their presence is not to intimidate but to guide against violator of electoral process, adding that the security agencies would be professional in the line of duty.
To all voters in Anambra State that in designing the sensitive materials for the election, the Commission introduced additional and visible and invisible security features, including different color codes. The materials have also been customized by local government areas and for some categories of the materials by polling units as well. Let me therefore warn those that may attempt to compromise the process that we have put in place sufficient safeguards to detect.
State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has set up a 5-man panel of inquiry set up by the government to probe the building collapse in Ikoyi, Lagos. Governor Sanwo-Olu made the announcement while addressing reporters, family members, and sympathizers when he visited the site on Wednesday. Our correspondent, Fauzia Agbadioka Bakari, has details in this report.
Both federal and state security agencies, LEMA, LASEMA, paramedics, among others, were on ground to intensify the search for more persons from the debris of the 21-story building, which collapsed at Ikoyi, Lagos on Monday. The state governor has announced a 5-man panel of inquiry to independently investigate the remote and immediate causes of the incidents. He said he will sign an executive order to give legal backing to the panel set up to investigate the cause of the collapse. He said 6 out of the 9 survivors rescued from the rubble in the Ikoyi building collapse have been identified.
We've designed a form that will be given to them, and they can fill the form right away here. And there's also been a website that has also been designed, for this, which is help at lagosmind.org. And once you go on the desk, they can give you to. So for missing person, web form is lagosmind.org/help 090-9000-6463. This is a psychosocial support call for people that might need psychosocial counseling or additional information as into what the plan is.
Families of those involved are waiting for the good or bad news. Governor Sanwo-Olu had on Sunday left the country to Rome for a climate change summit and en route Scotland when the unfortunate incident happened and had to cut short his trip. Fauzia Agbadioka Bakari, MITV News.
Emergency Management Agency NEMA has raised an alarm following a report of a gas pipeline leakage in some part of Ikeja, Lagos State capital earlier today. The affected areas include Computer Village, Ikeja under bridge end of Awolowo Way, Oba Akran Access, and Ifowoshe Street and Medical Road. To avoid any fire outbreak, the spokesperson for NEMA Southwest, Ibrahim Fariloye, asked residents to avoid open fire in the affected areas. Following the report, Fariloye in another statement said the gas leakage has been brought under control, while he asked residents to go about their daily routine without any worry. Officials have continued to divert traffic around the affected areas. The Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has disclosed its plans to establish barracks across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory for its 1,000 personnel. The chairman of the agency, Brigadier General Buba Mara, made this known on Wednesday in Abuja when he appeared before the House Committee on Narcotic, Drug and Financial Crime. He said additional 500 personnel are currently on training, which would increase the number of the personnel to 1,500. Mara, however, disclosed that the agency had proposed 300 billion naira for that purpose, adding that it had commenced work with some architects and consultants to ensure the takeoff of the project. Chairman House Committee on Narcotic, Drugs and Financial Crime, Honorable Francis Agbo, commended Mara for his good work, assuring that the House will ensure that NDLEA is considered as priority agency.
But there are still numerous areas, both in the overheads and in the capital, as we have explained, for your help to intervene and enhance, so that the effectiveness of drug law enforcement.
By saying that the NDLEA was actually dead, and we were actually preparing for its requiem mass before the Marwa came to judgment. So you have achieved so much over a very short period that you came on board, and you agree with me that so much needs to be achieved. On our part at the National Assembly, and specifically on this committee, we are ready, as we have always done, to collaborate with the NDLEA, to synergize with you, to ensure that you are made to bite and back properly.
As part of measures get towards improving the supply of electricity generation and supply across the country, the federal government is making progress in ensuring the speedy completion of key power projects in the country. Minister of Power, Engineer Abubakar Aliyu, stated these during the 2022 budget defense before the Senate Committee on Power. Engineer Aliyu listed some of the projects to include Mambila Hydroelectric Power Project, the Zungeru Hydroelectric Power Project, the Kashimbila 40-megawatt power station in Taraba State, among others. Aliyu said the Kashimbila power station in Taraba State is progressing towards completion by December 2021 to deliver another 40 megawatts of renewable power. The minister also told the committee that the ministry's 2022 budgetary allocation is 301 billion naira, of which 294 billion naira is for capital.
December 2021. Even though we have met with the contractors recently, and they are looking at December not in the horizon. Perhaps maybe it may go a little 1 month or 2 months into 2022. But I said let us stick to the December deadline and let's chase all the challenges that abound the completion of the December. So we are still working with the December deadline. They have some issues, some challenges of security. They have where they call the tripartite point, where they needed a certain number of security, but they were only able to get
project that we have in the Ministry of Power. And I believe that not just us, Nigerians that we represent, we want to know what is going on with this project. Honorable Minister, we thank you for the comprehensive briefing you've given to us and to the Nigerians who are listening to what you are saying here. We'll be expecting Zungeru in December, all things being equal. Kashimbila were definite second week of December.
Back here in Lagos, the state government has launched a universal patronage cash reward system tagged Eco Token. Commissioner for Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Cecilia Dada, said Eco Token is a cash reward to improve the economic prosperity of residents of Lagos. She said the initiative will create a new sustainable and robust mutual benefit between business, government and the people. The commissioner informed that the program was a partnership between the state government and the private investors to empower residents financially. Commissioner for Wealth Creation and Employment, Yetunde Arobieke, said over 200 companies have registered with Eco Token. The second round of the National Polio Immunization Program in Lagos has ended after a 4-day period from October 30 to November 2nd. During the exercise, children between the ages of 0, newborn babies, and 5 years received oral vaccines with 1 droplet for each child as volunteers went from one home to another across communities from the local government areas and the council development areas. Mitv News correspondent Fatoki Kunle monitored the exercise in Arobaba area of Pipeline Bus Stop in Egbeda Ijumu local council development areas, where volunteers from 8 health centers carried out the exercise, which started in the morning with volunteers announcing from house to house. After receiving the oral vaccine, the fingernail of each child was marked as a sign of receiving vaccination from the disease. A nursing mother, Agnes Onoja, after her daughter had received the oral vaccine, was quite aware of the advantages in the polio immunization program.
Open it. Open your mouth. Oh, yeah, come here. Open your mouth. Oh, yeah, you take it.
It's sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Polio has lots of benefits. Prevents children from unnecessary sicknesses and diseases in future. It prevents poliomyelitis. It helps children not to grow and their legs will be like numb, like they cannot walk. It prevents all that.
Of Bukola Saraki grassroots mobilizers have commended the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) for a well-conducted national convention. The group also commended its national delegate who were present at the PDP convention ground at Abuja and exhibited high sense of allegiance to the PDP and in solidarity to the principal, Senator Bukola Saraki, who has the political strength to wave the flag of the party as a presidential candidate. The national leader of Bukola Saraki grassroots mobilizer, Shola Idowu Imoleayo, in a statement congratulated the newly appointed committee members while giving kudos to the appointment of young Kadade Sulaiman as the national youth leader. Honorable Idowu expressed satisfaction with the emergence of the new committee and urged the members to deliver perfectly on the responsibility vested on them. He also expressed confidence on the perceived victory of Senator Bukola Saraki in the forthcoming presidential election in 2023. Let's take a moment. When we come back, we bring you stories from outside Nigeria. Stay with us. You're welcome back. When we down to the foreign scene, at least 20 people, including children, were killed on Wednesday when a bus plunged into a ravine in Pakistan-administered Kashmir with blamed speeding for the accident, while authorities are trying to retrieve bodies and injured from the wreckage. Local Disaster Management Authority official Raja Muhazzam said the bus carrying up to 40 passengers was going to Radwa PD when it plunged into a deep ravine while negotiating a sharp turn. The accident took place in the remote area about some 160 kilometers east of Muzaffarabad in the capital of Pakistan, administered Kashmir. Another local administration officer also confirmed the accident and put the toll at 23. Kingston has an appalling record of fatal road and rail accidents due to the poor roads, badly maintained vehicles, and recklessness of driving. At least 63 people were killed in June when a high-speed passenger train knifed through carriages of another express and at derailed Bennett area in the Singh province. U.S. President Joe Biden has criticized the leaders of China and Russia for not standing up to the COP26 climate summit, where both countries, however, have sent delegations to the talks, which are due to run for 2 weeks until 14th of November. In a speech, President Biden said climate was a gigantic issue and China walked away, adding it was the same thing with Russia and Putin. China is the world's largest emitter of carbon dioxide, followed by the U.S. Russia is the 5th largest after the EU and India. More than 120 leaders turned up at the conference in Scotland's largest city. Countries have already announced major deals, including a global pledge to slash methane levels by 2030, as well as to end the reverse deforestation by the same year. Both China and Russia are signatories of the pledge to reverse deforestation. Before Mr. Biden's speech, Mr. Putin virtually addressed a meeting on forest management at the COP26 summit.
Disappointment relates to the fact that Russia and including not only Russia but China basically didn't show up in terms of any commitments to deal with climate change. And there's a reason why people should be disappointed in that. I found it disappointing myself. But what we did do, we passed a number of things here to end the subsidization of coal. We made commitments here from across the board, all of us, in terms of what we're going to bring to the G26. And I think, you know, as that old trite saying goes, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. I think you're going to see we've made significant progress, and more has to be done. But it's going to require us to continue to focus on what China's not doing, what Russia's not doing, and what Saudi Arabia's not.
A Republican candidate has been elected the governor of Virginia, according to the U.S. television network, in the setback for Democrats ahead of the next year's nationwide congressional elections. U.S. media outlets projected early on Wednesday that Glenn Youngkin had won the gubernatorial race. A former private equity executive who has never held elected office, Youngkin sold himself as a political outsider while seeking to rally suburban voters around hot-button issues like how to handle the discussion of racism in schools and COVID-19 mask mandate in classrooms. The 54-year-old surged in the polls in the week leading up to the election, closing his gap with former Governor Terry McAuliffe by gaining a ground with independent and women voters.
All righty, Virginia, we won this thing! How much fun? How much fun? First of all, thank you all for waiting a few minutes longer than we thought to. Breakfast will be served shortly. Amazing. God. Well, first, let me thank Suzanne. Just, oh.
Israel has launched an aerial attack with a number of missiles targeting an area on the outskirts of the Syrian capital of Damascus, Syrian State TV said earlier on Wednesday, citing a military source. It added that attack resulted in some material damage. There was no immediate comment for Israeli officials. Last Saturday, Israel also fired missiles towards the suburbs of the Syrian capital, although they were intercepted by Syria's air defenses. On October 14, an Israeli air raid on Iranian positions in central Syria also killed 9 fighters alleged to the Syrian government. The attacks came days after Syria accused Israel of carrying out an attack in the country's south. You're still watching the Mitv Primetime News. Let's take a moment. When we come back, we bring you stories in the world of sports. Stay with us. You're welcome back. Moving down to the world of sport, Unai Emery has ruled himself out of the contention to be Newcastle United next manager, saying he is 100% committed to Villarreal. The former Arsenal boss confirmed on Tuesday he had been approached by the Premier League club who made him their first choice to replace Steve Bruce. In an Instagram post on Wednesday, Emery said Villarreal is his home. Emery thanked Villarreal president Fernando Roig and his family for the support, adding that no matter how much noise there was yesterday in another country within the club, there was transparency and loyalty with the Roig family and with his squad, and for him it is the most important thing. Newcastle had hoped to have the Spaniard in place by weekend. Instead, their manager's search continues with Eddie Howe and Paulo Fonseca possible alternatives. Still in the Premier League, Antonio Conte on Wednesday said managing Tottenham was an honor and vowed to repay the trust of chairman Daniel Levy by reviving the virtues of the struggling Premier League club. The Italian was appointed on Tuesday, a day after Spurs sacked Nuno Espirito Santo from last weekend's slim 3-0 defeat at home to Manchester United. Conte, who guided Chelsea to 2016/2017 Premier League title, had said Levy's contagious enthusiasm and determination convinced him to join. The 52-year-old led Inter Milan to their first Serie A title since 2010 last season to break Juventus' 9-year stranglehold on the Italian league before leaving the Nerazzurri. Conte began Juve's period of dominance with 3 Serie A titles between 2011 and 2014 and managed Italy from 2014 to 2016 before his 2-year stint at Chelsea. And in tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic endured a tough return to the ATP singles circuit but battled through to beat Martin Fucsovics of Hungary 6-2, 6-4, 6-3 in the second round of the Paris Masters. The 34-year-old 20-time Grand Slam champion had said on Sunday that his greatest fear was lack of match practice, having not played since Daniel Medvedev dashed his dreams of a Grand Slam sweep in the U.S. Open final in September. The Serbian's fears were born out of Fucsovics put up a sterner test than the rabbit caught in the headlights, one of he had produced when they met in the Wimbledon quarterfinals earlier this year. Djokovic, who rare for him is also playing the doubles in Paris, said he expected a tough match despite having beaten his opponent the 3 previous times they had met. And just before we end the Mitv Primetime News tonight, let's take a quick recap of our top stories. INEC put security codes to differentiate against fake election materials ahead of Anambra governorship election. We also said that death toll from Ikoyi building collapse in Lagos rises to 21 as Governor Sanwo-Olu set up panel of inquiry. And on the foreign scene, we also reported that buses plunges into ditch kills 20 in Pakistan. And finally, on the world of sport, Unai Emery rejects Newcastle head coach job. And that's it in the Mitv Primetime News tonight from the news production team. I am Kemi Omoshibi Awudeyi. Many thanks for watching. Do have a great night and please stay safe.